After discovering that my domineering husband had the ability to read minds, I started making wishes. Oh, that new Chanel bag looks amazing, but it's a bit pricey. I wish I could have a sea view villa. When will I live the life of calling over 10 handsome men at a nightclub? A gritted voice came from nearby. Stop dreaming. That's never going to happen. Welcome to the Hee Hee Story channel. Don't forget to subscribe to the Hee Hee Story channel. Story begins. Vincent Allen and I were bound by an arranged marriage, a union based purely on business interests without any emotional connection. We adhered to the standards of a model couple in our social circle, living our separate lives and never inquiring about each other's schedules. One thing I appreciated, though, was that Vincent was a workaholic, leading a clean private life without any mistresses to give me headaches. I had assumed we would continue to coexist peacefully, without stepping on each other's toes. But lately, Vincent had been acting strange. Vincent Allen was a very composed man. His face usually only displayed one expression: indifference. However, a few days ago, I saw something new. Confusion, shock, indescribable disbelief, and even disdain, all at once. It was 10 o'clock at night. Workaholic Vincent was still in bed, holding his laptop, immersed in work. I had just finished my nighttime routine and was lying in bed, reading a novel suitable for late-night entertainment. Wow, they kissed already. This erotic novel doesn't hold back. The sound of typing suddenly ceased. I looked up to find Vincent frowning, looking puzzled. Were you talking just now? He asked. No, I'm just busy reading the news, I replied softly, putting down my phone. Why? Vincent shook his head. Nothing, maybe I imagined it. Imagined it? You're too young to be hearing things. Must be from playing on the computer too much. I silently ridiculed him in my heart, but outwardly, I smiled more gently. Maybe you're just tired. You should take more breaks. Vincent's expression was hard to read, his eyes betraying a hint of something complicated. After murmuring an okay, he silently closed his laptop. Go on, grab him, dominate him, then torment him. Yes, yes. Do this, then do that. So perverted, I love it. Cough, cough. Vincent cleared his throat twice, his face tinged with embarrassment. You should get some sleep and, maybe cut down on the news. It's not good for you. I agreed, then turned around to continue my late-night reading. What's with that look? Embarrassment mixed with disdain? Disdain mixed with contempt. Anyone would think he caught me reading smut. Vincent's expressions had certainly become more varied lately. I also noticed he was getting more attuned to things. My friend Lily told me how the second son of the Brown family, whom I had refused to marry, was now known as a perfect husband, lavishing his wife with expensive gifts at auctions and adorning her with countless mansions and jewels. I cast a sidelong glance at Vincent, who was absorbed in the financial report, and sighed inwardly. If I had known, I would have agreed to marry Jeffrey Brown back then. It's better than being stuck with an ice block now. Thinking about the mansions and jewels that had slipped through my fingers, I couldn't help but sigh again. Seeing Vincent sitting there, motionless, I felt even more resentment bubbling inside me. Perhaps my gaze was too intense because Vincent looked up. Is something bothering you? You've been sighing a lot. No, just made a bad shopping choice and now I regret it, I said through gritted teeth, not noticing his grip tightening around the financial report, his fingers turning white. Vincent looked at me, hesitated for a moment, and then said, There's an auction tonight. If there's anything you want, I can get it for you. Ask, ask, ask. What's there to ask? If you really want to give, just give. Why ask what I want? I want everything. Can you bring it all? I don't really want anything. You know I'm not that materialistic. I tucked a strand of hair behind my ear, smiling gracefully. Vincent's expression turned odd, his mouth twitching slightly. Then, I'll head out. Don't wait for me for dinner. How funny. As if I've ever waited for you. All right, I'll ask the maid to leave some food for you. I wasn't sure if it was just my imagination, but he seemed to leave in a hurry. Emerald bracelets, enamel-etched earrings, ruby necklaces, cat's eye rings. One by one, beautifully wrapped pieces of jewelry entered, with assistants filing in an orderly fashion. Although I didn't get everything, I managed to get about 70%. The rest didn't look good, so I didn't bid on them. Vincent looked up at me, a hint of caution in his eyes. Next time, I'll make sure to get them all. I pretended not to hear his words, lost in my own delight. This one would look perfect with that black evening gown. That one, with a chic little dress. This one has too many diamonds, too flashy for daily wear, better save it for a gala. Jeffrey Brown couldn't outbid me. He didn't get anything today, Vincent said, his voice carrying a trace of subtle joy. Of course not. How could Jeffrey Brown compare to my husband? He doesn't even come close, I said, not bothering to look up, complimenting him with little sincerity. That night, I rarely indulged him a little more. Exhausted to my limits, I was drifting off when a sudden thought jolted me awake. Something wasn't right. Why was Vincent suddenly bringing back so many auction items? He used to just give me his card instead of bothering with selections. And why did he mention Jeffrey Brown out of the blue? He never liked him before. Reflecting on his behavior over the past few days, everything seemed off, as if he had developed the ability to read minds. Staring at the sleeping Vincent beside me, a horrifying thought crossed my mind. Could he really have mind-reading powers? Testing this theory would be easy. I just needed to think of things Vincent would never normally do for me. If he did them, then his mind-reading abilities would be confirmed. At 8 in the morning, we sat at the breakfast table, as usual. I idly stirred my porridge, beginning to intentionally grumble in my mind. Why are the pancakes so far away? What afraid I might take some. The alarm on my phone went off. I silenced it and got up to charge my phone. When I returned, Vincent hadn't looked up, as if he were disconnected from the commotion of the outside world, until the pancakes suddenly appeared in front of me. Suppressing the shock in my heart, I looked up at Vincent, preparing to play a bigger game. Eating the same food every day is so boring. My husband actually looks pretty handsome today. Vincent's hand paused as he held his chopsticks, and the next moment, his ears turned a bright red. Look at that superior bone structure, that high-bridged nose. It's like you could slide down it. And those sexy thin lips, they make you want to. Ahem. Seeing Vincent practically bury his head in his bowl, I laughed and asked, "Honey, why aren't you eating?" I'm full. I'm heading to the office now," he stammered, hastily standing up and clumsily making his way to the door. How boring. Other husbands at least give a goodbye kiss before heading to work. Maybe even a French kiss. And me? I get nothing. Vincent hesitated for a moment, as if caught in an internal debate, then turned around, his face flushed. He seemed to make up his mind and walked toward me with determination. I tried to calm my racing heart. No way. Is he really going to do it? My cheek was gently brushed with warmth. Honey, I'm off to work. After Vincent left, I sat there, stunned for a long while. To be honest, this was the first time Vincent had kissed me, during the day. Honey. I couldn't believe that word had come out of Vincent's mouth. We had been married for a year, and outside of the bedroom, we barely spoke. When we did, it was always direct, without even calling each other by name. Could he have taken the wrong medication? No, that's not the point. He really does have mind-reading powers. Why him? That's not fair. Why don't I have them? God, I won't call you grandpa anymore, because clearly, you don't see me as your granddaughter. After a silent lament in my heart, I suddenly realized something terrifying. What was I doing all those times Vincent had strange expressions on his face? Reading smut, grumbling about how stingy he was. Oh my God, what have I done? My image as the cold, elegant, cultured socialite. Overwhelming regret and belated embarrassment washed over me. In our circle, I was known for being a proper lady. Kind, gentle, well-mannered and graceful. A big reason why Vincent's mother favored me during our matchmaking was my image. Because in terms of family background, my family's Prescott Powell Company was nowhere near the level of the Allen family. It wasn't even a real marriage of equals. It felt more like a charitable act. For me, this marriage felt more like a transaction. Vincent needed a virtuous wife, and I needed a way out of the Powell household. Without the influence of the Allen family, it wouldn't have been so easy to reclaim my mother's shares. Isabella Powell, this is for your own good, my father would say, rubbing his hands together with a sycophantic smile. You're still young. What if you get deceived? You think I'd actually take your mother's shares? Besides, you're marrying into the Allen family, So why worry about those shares? Just don't forget to involve Mr. Allen in any lucrative projects you find. I'd wave my hand dismissively. Stop it. Don't call me Isabella Powell. It disgusts me. Just call me a disgrace like you usually do. Also, those shares are what my mother left me. If you want to give them to Rosalinda Lewis and her daughter, have them kneel at my mother's grave to apologize. Maybe then I'll consider it. Actually, no, you should go down there too. My father's face would turn dark. You ungrateful. Just tell me yes or no. If you don't give them to me, I'll go to the Allen family empty-handed and tell them you took my mother's dowry. Let's see if your cherished partnership still has a chance. My father thought he could use the Allen family as a stepping stone to climb even higher. But on the first day of my marriage to Vincent Allen, I told him, "Don't give Prescott Powell a single benefit. I don't acknowledge him as my father." In exchange for leaving that revolting family, I had planned to play the role of the dutiful wife for the rest of my life. But I never expected him to pop out with the ability to read minds. With my carefully crafted persona falling apart, I was so depressed that I only managed to eat half a bowl of dinner. Forget it. Anyone who wants to be the perfect wife and mother can have it. I'm done. When Vincent Allen came home, I was lying in bed, pretending to be sick. Honestly, I didn't feel like seeing him right now. The thought that everything going on in my mind was like a live-streamed commentary to him made me extremely uneasy. The bedroom door opened softly, and Vincent Allen walked over to the bed, placing his warm hand on my forehead. "No fever, where does it hurt?" he murmured. I kept my eyes closed, pretending to be asleep, trying my hardest not to think about anything. By the third time he stroked my hair, I couldn't hold it in any longer. "Stop touching my hair. You're making it oily." Feeling his hand pause, I inwardly cursed my slip-up. "Why are you back so early?" I rubbed my eyes, pretending to have just woken up. "I skipped the banquet. Thought I'd come home early." "Aren't you impressive? What are you doing back so early?" Oops. I couldn't hold that one back either. The room was dark, only dimly lit by the moonlight, but I could still make out Vincent Allen's expression stiffening. His lips pulled into a forced smile. "Why are you sleeping so early today?" "What's it to you?" "Oh no. Are you feeling unwell?" "I'm perfectly fine, just not too comfortable looking at you." Damn it. Before Vincent could process this, I pushed him away. "Just leave me alone. I'm on my period, and I'm not in a good mood." Damn. I can't keep up this act. Usually, I was proud and could argue with anyone, but encountering someone who could read my thoughts was like a death sentence. In the dimly lit room, I stared at my phone screen without moving. I typed into Google, "What to do if you discover your husband can read minds? Need help urgently." Just keep reciting the Bible in your mind and see if he still reads it. For heaven's sake, there wasn't a single serious answer. "Isabella Powell, may I come in?" Vincent Allen's voice came from outside. I quickly turned off my phone and buried myself under the blankets, my voice muffled as I replied, "Come in." Vincent cautiously entered, carrying a bowl. His overly serious expression was almost comical. I made some ginger tea with brown sugar and eggs. I followed a recipe I found online, so I hope it tastes okay. He scratched his head, looking a bit awkward. Under the deep red sugary water, the boiled eggs were smooth and well-formed, with intact yolks. Actually quite well done. The taste was sweet and comforting. I looked up to find Vincent Allen watching me with bright, expectant eyes. His fluffy black hair drooped over his forehead, making him look like a puppy waiting for praise. Unable to resist, I ruffled his hair. "Not bad." He leaned in closer. "You can keep petting me, dear. My hair doesn't get oily that fast." "You better not be hinting at something." My phone pinged with a notification. Someone had responded to my question. "It's me. I just make wishes in my mind all day, asking him to buy me bags." Right. Why didn't I think of that? I quickly opened the browser and began searching fervently. "Oh, the new Chanel bag is gorgeous, but it's a bit expensive." "Sweetheart, I went to the mall today, and Chanel released some new bags. I didn't know which one you'd like, so I bought them all." Rows of bags were laid out on the floor. Classic black shoulder bags, pink quilted chain bags, pearl chain mini waist bags, nude lambskin flap bags. I jumped onto Vincent Allen like a koala, planting a big kiss on his cheek. "Honey, I love you." Take it easy. Vincent Allen steadied my waist, his expression calm and unreadable. He turned and called for his assistant, whispering, "Get the new LV collection here tomorrow. I want to buy clothes but don't want to leave the house." The next day, a manager from DNG showed up. "Miss Powell, Mr. Allen asked us to bring over our spring collection." An array of clothes was lined up, turning the living room into a personal shopping mall, fulfilling my dream of shopping from home. I wish I had a seaside villa. Today marks the 389th day since we got married, so I picked a villa as a gift. It happens to have a sea view. Feeling utterly content, I lay on the couch, fondling the property deed, glancing over at Vincent Allen working with his laptop in the living room, and found him inexplicably pleasing to the eye. "Vincent Allen, you are so handsome." The sound of typing paused momentarily, and the next second, Vincent's ears turned a bright red. "Huh, can't take a bit of teasing, can you?" Life was rich and smooth, without a ripple in sight. Until, this morning, Prescott Powell called to say he was on the brink of bankruptcy. Worried, I hurriedly packed up and took Vincent Allen with me to enjoy the spectacle. Finally, justice was being served. Back when my mother passed away, Prescott Powell wasted no time bringing Rosalinda Lewis and her daughter into the house. He had been married to my mother for 5 years, but Tabitha Powell was already 6 years old. Rosalinda Lewis banished me to the first-floor utility room, where I ate their leftovers and wore Tabitha's discarded clothes. Every day I looked like a ragged little beggar. She said that since her Tabitha had lived such a hidden life for 6 years, it was my turn now. It was only when my maternal grandparents took me away that this nightmarish life ended. "Vincent, let me introduce you to my younger daughter, Tabitha Powell. She's so much more obedient and lovely compared to her unruly older sister. You're sure to like her," Prescott Powell eagerly introduced. Rosalinda Lewis and Tabitha Powell stood behind him, presenting a picture-perfect family. Humph, younger daughter? A younger daughter who's a year older than the older one. As a child, I couldn't understand why my father disappeared after my mother passed away. But now, watching Prescott Powell's obsequious demeanor, I felt a sudden sense of release. He had always been like this, lustful, useless, greedy, and opportunistic. He just hid it well when he was with my mother. Tabitha Powell wore a white dress, her long hair cascading over her chest, giving her a pure and delicate appearance. "Hello, Vincent. Just call me Tabitha. I've admired you for so long, and I'm finally meeting you today." She edged closer to Vincent, her cheeks slightly flushed. "Two-faced bitch. Admiring someone else's husband, are you?" Vincent pulled me back a few steps, looking incredulous. Did she just call me big brother? Is she really younger than me? The wrinkles on her face could trap a fly. I thought the three of them were all the same age. Tabitha looked like she had been struck by lightning, her hand frozen in mid-air. Prescott Powell was taken aback. "Vincent, you're such a joker." Vincent ignored him, turning to me with a pout. "Honey, let's make sure we take good care of ourselves so we don't end up like her." At the dining table, Prescott Powell still wouldn't give up. "You know, if Tabitha had been a bit younger back then, you two would have been a better match." My face darkened, but before I could speak, Tabitha's eyes welled with tears. She whimpered, "Sister, don't blame Vincent. I just like him too much. You know, a man like Vincent can't have just one woman." "What are you, living in the Middle Ages?" I was about to speak when Vincent beat me to it. "Go have your delusions somewhere else. A man of virtue like me is both mentally and physically devoted to his wife. Honestly, this whole family is insane." The other three at the table turned pale, but they didn't dare to retort. I suddenly realized the advantage of Vincent having mind-reading abilities. These words, coming from my mouth, would have far less impact than coming from Vincent. I looked at the scheming family, then turned to Tabitha and said slowly, "You're wearing white today, not purple." Tabitha glared at me with resentment. I continued leisurely, "In ancient times, purple was often worn by the principal wife." Rosalinda Lewis reacted as if I'd hit a sore spot. "Isabella Powell, what are you implying? Isn't it obvious? From the way you've arranged things, I thought you were planning to send Tabitha here as a concubine." I replied coldly, "Oh, I forgot. There's no such thing as concubines anymore. Nowadays, they're just called mistresses. I bet your mother knows a lot about that." Rosalinda's face turned white with anger. Isabella Powell, I know you have grievances against me, but it's too malicious to think this way about your father and me. Mr. Allen, please tell me, is someone with such a vicious mind fit to be a wife of the Allen family? Didn't you hear a word I said? If you keep insulting my wife, I've heard that Powell Group is on the verge of bankruptcy, Vincent Allen said, knocking on the table with an emotionless voice. Maybe I should just go ahead and buy it out. Panic flashed across Prescott Powell's face, and he turned to me with tears in his eyes. Isabella Powell, yes, I haven't treated you well in the past, but I'm really in trouble now. You can't just stand by and watch. That damn Jeffrey Brown tricked me into investing in that YouMonkey AI project, and it turned out to be a complete scam. I lost all the money, and the company's cash flow is about to collapse, Prescott Powell sobbed, his eyes red. Daughter, Powell Group was your mother's blood, sweat, and tears too. To be honest, Prescott Powell had always been a hypocrite, but I believed his tears were real at this moment. After all, he was about to end up on the streets. How much do you need? I asked flatly. Not much, just 50 million. Prescott Powell perked up, thinking I had softened. Not much. I chuckled softly, my tone inscrutable. You're right, it's not much, but I'm not giving you a single cent. To be honest, I came here today just to see the show. I took Vincent Allen's hand, ready to leave. Tabitha Powell blocked our path, her voice filled with resentment. 50 million is nothing to you. Are you really going to watch Powell Group go bankrupt? Isabella Powell, don't be so selfish. I responded in a mocking tone. Oh dear, what should I do? I'm just that selfish. I love money, the more the better. I wouldn't lend you a penny, not even half of one. So what's your plan? You leave us no choice, Prescott Powell said, shutting the door, his voice dripping with malice. Honey, I feel a bit hot, Vincent Allen said, tugging at my hand, rubbing against me like a puppy, his face flushed. What did you give him? I demanded. Just a little something to set the mood. After tonight, dear sister, I will take your place as Mrs. Allen. I noticed that Tabitha Powell's eyes were unfocused and dazed. Are you crazy? Once Vincent Allen wakes up, your bankruptcy will only happen faster. Rosalinda Lewis sneered at me. Even if Mr. Allen wakes up, so what? By then, Tabitha will have already been with him. Would he really do anything to us then? The Powell family will be fine, and so will Tabitha. As for you, well, you'll end up discarded just like your mother. Your mother couldn't beat me, and neither can you. I stared at this dysfunctional family in disbelief. Had they all lost their minds? Where do you get this confidence from? A decrepit old man who's been drained by alcohol and women, a skinny hag, and a drugged-out idiot think they can control us? Do you think my bodyguards outside are just for show? I took out my phone, gave a command, and my bodyguards burst through the door, breaking it down into splinters. Watching as the entire family was quickly subdued, I tooted twice. You could have just gone bankrupt, but now you'll be spending time in jail. With the help of the bodyguards, I managed to slap Rosalinda Lewis and Tabitha Powell a dozen times each and gave Prescott Powell a series of well-placed kicks. After the police took them away, I rushed Vincent Allen to the hospital. As expected, it was an aphrodisiac, though not a very strong one. While watching over Vincent Allen, I ordered my people to acquire the remaining shares of Powell Corporation. I wanted Powell Corporation to become my Powell Corporation, with the Powell name belonging to Isabella Powell. Wouldn't it be fantastic if this family, after serving 6 months in jail, came out to find they had nothing left? When Vincent Allen woke up, he asked softly, Honey, why didn't you help me? Immediately understanding, I felt my face heat up. In your dreams. What's that look on your face? Regret. Should I have just let you? Before I could finish my thought, Vincent Allen said, aggrieved. I meant, why didn't you call the nurse to take out my 4 needle? The drip is finished. I noticed the 4 line was indeed showing signs of backflow and hurriedly pressed the call button for the nurse. You should have finished your sentence, I said, feeling annoyed. Vincent Allen's face was pale, and he looked a bit wronged. You didn't let me finish. The room's a bit hot. I'm going to step out for a moment. I made a hasty exit, feeling awkward to the core. Vincent Allen's low laughter followed me out of the room. I felt like dying of embarrassment. Initially, I thought Vincent Allen and I had progressed from an unfamiliar, business-like marriage to a love story that followed the married first, fell in love later trope. But lately, he'd been acting strange. I suspected he might be seeing someone else. Starting last week, Vincent Allen looked constantly exhausted, coming home in the early morning and collapsing into bed. He was always on his phone, laughing at who knows what, and whenever I asked him what he was so busy with, he would mumble something incoherent, his eyes dodgy and full of guilt. More suspiciously, he was treating me extraordinarily well. If the bags and clothes I'd gotten earlier were just me exploiting his mind-reading ability, then what was with all these property deeds now? He'd given me 8 in just 5 days. That's not normal. Usually, if a man suddenly becomes overly attentive to his wife, it's because he feels guilty about cheating. The more I thought about it, the more I felt my suspicions were right. He had to be cheating. Having reached this conclusion, I was furious and ready to confront Vincent Allen immediately. But then, I spotted the brand new property deeds on the table and had a better idea. Since I'm still his wife, I might as well take advantage of it for as long as I can. Each day as Vincent Allen's wife should be a day to get my money's worth. I started making wild wishes in my mind, exploiting Vincent Allen's guilt to drain him dry. I wish I had a skyscraper. There's this cute little island in the Pacific I have my eye on. I can't even imagine how happy I'd be with my own vineyard. I'd be such a cheerful little girl. Every morning, there were new surprises on the table. Yet Vincent Allen seemed more and more tired. I had a feeling he wouldn't put up with me for much longer. As my personal fortune grew, I even started to look forward to Vincent Allen bringing up divorce. When that time came, wouldn't I be living the ideal life, with good looks, wealth, and no husband? I could go to nightclubs and flirt with handsome men, be it younger men or more rugged types. Haha. Fortunately, I didn't have to wait long. Vincent Allen finally couldn't take it anymore. That afternoon, he didn't go to work. He took a file folder from his assistant and approached me, his expression serious. "We need to talk." I glanced at the folder and instantly understood. It was finally happening. "How long have we been married?" Vincent Allen's eyes lowered, his voice somber. I got the cue. Usually, this is the part where we reminisce about old times. I hesitated for a moment and said vaguely, "Almost a year, I think." 1 year and 52 days, Vincent Allen said, staring at me intently. I nodded, playing along. Vincent Allen looked at me, visibly hurt. His dark hair fell over his forehead, and he looked genuinely upset, his voice hoarse. "Isabella Powell, after all this time, do you still see me as an outsider?" I nodded again. "Wait, what?" "I ran into Jeffrey Brown today. He told me everything. The whole AI scam that bankrupted Powell Corporation was something you and Jeffrey Brown did together. Why didn't you tell me you wanted to take down the Powell family? It's not like it's a difficult thing to do. You barely know Jeffrey Brown, but you partnered with him. I'm your husband, and I knew nothing. You'd rather trust an outsider than me. Isabella Powell, have you ever really seen me as one of your own?" Vincent Allen's face was filled with hurt, and his eyes held a deep disappointment. His words hit me like a ton of bricks. Without thinking, I blurted out, "Let's get a divorce." As soon as the words left my mouth, Vincent Allen's eyes turned red. "Divorce? You can say that word so easily. I only asked you a few questions, and you immediately want a divorce." "Fine, I won't ask any more. Did you ever have even a little bit of affection for me?" "I'm not divorcing. Not unless a court order forces me to after we're married." As I processed everything, I became confused. "Aren't you here to discuss our divorce? How could that be? When I, Vincent Allen, got married, I never once thought about divorce." "Isn't that a divorce agreement?" I pointed at the folder. "What divorce agreement?" "That's everything I own," Vincent Allen said, choking on his own words in frustration. I opened the folder to find property transfer agreements, stock transfer agreements, and asset ownership documents. I gasped. "Vincent Allen, are you out of your mind? I'm just handing over control of our finances." "Are you sure this is handing over control and not leaving with nothing? Besides, who hands over financial control in a business marriage?" As soon as I said that, I felt the air around us still. I regretted my words immediately. Vincent Allen's eyes fixed on me, his gaze intense and dark. "Isabella Powell, we are not in a business marriage." I fell in love with you at first sight. At that moment, my heart skipped a beat. When I regained my composure, an indescribable feeling spread through my chest. My heart felt warm and sweet, but I still mumbled, "Why give me everything? You said you like money, and the more the better, right?" It was something I'd said offhand to Prescott Powell, but Vincent Allen had remembered it. "What about you?" I asked. "I like you. The more the better." Wait, did this guy go for some training? How did he suddenly become so smooth? Vincent Allen's straightforward confession made my cheeks heat up. I fumbled with the documents to hide my embarrassment. "So, this is what you've been busy with lately?" "Yeah, what else would I be busy with? I thought you were cheating." I hadn't spoken out loud, but I knew he'd heard it. Vincent Allen's face darkened completely, his voice tinged with frustration. "How could you think that? I'd rather throw myself under a train than cheat." "Well, you haven't been coming home, and you've looked completely drained. It's normal to be suspicious, right? Not coming home was because of overtime. Being drained was from work. I'm the CEO, and I arrive first and leave last every day. Even the security guard's dog leaves before I do. You don't care about me, and you think I'm cheating?" After handing over control of the finances, I'm scared I won't have money to buy you bags. Every morning, the first thing I think about is how to earn billions today. I work so hard, and yet I'm accused unfairly. I was wrong. As long as I apologize quickly enough, Vincent Allen's words won't catch up to me. Vincent Allen was taken aback, opening and closing his mouth without saying anything. After a moment, he still felt wronged and couldn't help but complain. "How could you think I was cheating? What's going on in your mind? Don't you already know what I'm thinking?" I was really letting my mouth run ahead of my brain today. I might as well take up stand-up comedy. After all the times I'd accidentally blurted things out, my mind was surprisingly calm. Vincent Allen stared at me, wide-eyed. "You knew." There was no hiding it now. I looked at Vincent Allen and admitted, "Okay, I admit it. I know you can read minds." "How did you know?" "I thought I hid it well. When the wishes I made at night come true the next morning, anyone would get suspicious, wouldn't they?" I said, exasperated. He suddenly gave me a smile. "Then I admit I also knew that you knew I could read minds." "When did you find out?" "I thought I hid it well." He smirked. "Did you forget? I can read minds. Then why did you go along with all my outrageous demands if you knew I was just wishing on purpose?" Vincent Allen looked at me with a serious expression. "They weren't outrageous. The fact that you wanted them was reason enough." "Well, I guess we've cleared up the misunderstandings." I stood up, ready to leave. "We haven't cleared up how you see me as an outsider." Vincent Allen's voice came softly. "I never saw you as an outsider. The reason I teamed up with Jeffrey Brown is because he also wanted to take down the Powell family. We just happened to have the same goal," I explained patiently. "What grudge could he possibly have against the Powell family? You remember that drug Tabitha Powell tried to use on you? Jeffrey Brown was their first test subject." Vincent fell silent after hearing that. After a long pause, he finally said, "Jeffrey Brown has some serious patience." I packed the documents into the file folder. My emotions a jumble. I had gained wealth but lost my chance at becoming a wealthy single woman. My little wolves. My cute pups. No little wolves. No cute pups. "If you keep thinking that way, you'll have a little mad dog on your hands," Vincent said, gritting his teeth. I was just thinking out loud. Don't take it seriously. "When will I ever get to go to a nightclub and call over 10 handsome men?" Vincent's voice came out through clenched teeth. "Stop dreaming. That's never going to happen. Vincent Allen, you're not allowed to use your mind-reading powers anymore. Then you're not allowed to think about those little wolves and pups anymore either." "But I want to see some abs." "I have abs. You never let me see them." "I'll show you tonight. Promise? And no turning off the lights." I suddenly thought that being honest might not have been the best idea. I never expected Vincent Allen, the aloof CEO, to be so clingy. Back then, in the vast living room, he would work at the table on one end while I watched TV on the sofa at the other. Now, he insisted that we both squeeze onto half of the same sofa. "Move over there. That side is completely empty." Vincent stared intently at the screen, shifting a millimeter to the side. I was so irritated I could explode, turning to glare at him, but I got distracted. Vincent was wearing gold-rimmed glasses perched on his high nose, his thin lips pressed together. His Adam's apple was seductive, just like his collarbones, and going further down. Stop thinking about it. He'll know. I shook my head, trying to chase away the dirty thoughts, only to find Vincent looking at me with an amused expression. I'm just appreciating, okay? I didn't mean anything by it, I said defensively. Vincent stared at me for a few seconds before saying, with a hint of mystery, well, I do mean something by it. Vincent's arm slipped around my waist, and he leaned in to kiss me. I never realized how clingy you are, Vincent Allen, I said, catching my breath. I used to be a bit socially anxious and didn't dare talk to you. Your own wife, and you were too shy to talk to her? That's social anxiety to a deadly level. When he didn't respond, I tried to comfort him. It's okay, you're just socially anxious. Meanwhile, I'm socially dead since you read my mind every day. Good news, Vincent's mind-reading ability had disappeared. Bad news, it seemed to have transferred to me. Honey, my mind-reading ability is gone, Vincent said. You look almost disappointed, I noted. No way. Why would I be? Now my wife's privacy is fully protected. I'm more than happy about that. Vincent forced a strained smile. I'm so sad. Now I won't know what my wife is thinking anymore. Wife's thoughts are so hard to guess. How will I comfort her when we argue? I don't dare talk back when scolded, and I'm not good at comforting people. I can't imagine how miserable my life will be without mind reading. Where did my mind reading ability go? Watching Vincent's calm exterior while his mind was in turmoil, I fell into deep thought. So this is what it feels like when someone's thoughts don't match their words. Did Vincent always find me as irritating as this when he could read my mind? I realized that this mind-reading ability was of no benefit whatsoever, only causing my ears pain and my mind torment. My wife is so cute, just like a little bunny when she wakes up. I want to pinch her cheeks, but I don't dare. I'll wait until she's asleep and do it secretly. Her lips are so soft. I want to kiss them. And they're so soft. I couldn't take it anymore. Vincent Allen, think of something appropriate. Extra. Vincent Allen's perspective. I'm a domineering CEO. And a social anxiety sufferer. I barely say 3 sentences a day. And I avoid people whenever I can. My mother, Madam Taylor, said I'd be a bachelor for life like this. But she miscalculated. That day at the cafe, I ordered a typical CEO drink, black coffee, bitterer than my life. When I looked up, a girl dressed as a bunny mascot sat down next to me. She had a miserable expression, as if she had lost a game and was out here on a dare. To your 3 o'clock, there's a cool handsome guy drinking black coffee. Go ask for his contact details, her friend teased. No way. This is so awkward. If you lose next time, I'm making you dress as Ultraman to ask for someone's contact details, she said, frowning and sulking. I swallowed down the bitterness on my tongue, gripping my coffee cup so hard I didn't even feel the heat. Hey, handsome, can I get your Instagram? Of course, I stammered, fumbling for my phone, only to feel like I'd been struck by lightning. I didn't have an Instagram account. Her eyes sparkled as she looked at me, like a little bunny waiting for a carrot. I managed to say awkwardly, I don't have Instagram, but I can download it now. She looked at me knowingly. Sorry to bother you. Then she ran off quickly, turning to her friend. It's all your fault. He has a girlfriend. So embarrassing. I regretted it so much that I kept clutching the cup, not noticing even when the coffee spilled over. For the next week, I went to that cafe every day, ordered cup after cup, and sat there from dawn till dusk. But I never saw her again. Madam Taylor arranged a blind date for me. I was about to refuse when I saw the photo. It was her. There was a light at the end of the tunnel. I cleaned myself up thoroughly, going over what to say when we met again and again. I wanted to tell her I didn't have a girlfriend and that I had already downloaded Instagram. But I never expected her not to recognize me. She was poised and articulate, but she kept her distance. I felt a bit disappointed but mostly thrilled. I told Madam Taylor that I was set on this girl for life. Things went as I hoped, and we got married. But I never expected my social anxiety to remain unchanged. Whenever I talked to her, my heart raced, and I stumbled over my words. Then I came up with a good solution. Just avoid talking as much as possible. She liked to watch TV in the living room. To spend more time with her, I'd bring my laptop to the living room table every night and pretend to work overtime. My hands kept typing, but my eyes often drifted away from the screen to her. Then one day, I suddenly gained the ability to read minds. She always had some strange thoughts, her words never matching her inner monologue. But I found this made her even more real. Gradually, I noticed that we were talking more and more. It seemed like my social anxiety was fading away. Isabella Powell said I was following a love at first sight script. She was following a married first, fell in love later script. I didn't really understand these terms, but I knew one thing. Our future would be a script of enduring love. The end.